Paper is lit from behind. The shadow's outline appear. Docked against it is a long, thin boat, a gondola. A guitar rests in the front of the boat, and waves roll underneath it. There is also a man standing in the gondola, with a long paddle in his hands. The paper begins to move, scrolling to the left, and the man begins to paddle. His gondola moves over the water as a building comes into view. Big Ben is a tall, thin tower with a clock face at the top. 3 rows of long, thin windows appear below the clock face, with 2 rows above as the tower becomes thinner. At its peak, it thins even more until it is a spire, pointing skyward. The man and the boat float past, and 2 sailing boats join them on the water. One is much bigger than the gondola, and the other is smaller, as it's further away. The boats each have 3 triangular sails, overlapping each other. The gondola moves past them. The man continues to paddle past the boats, and birds fly overhead as half of the London Bridge comes onto the screen. First, 2 towers with 3 spires each can be seen, a shorter one on the left and a taller one on the right. There is a bridge connecting the bottom of them, and there is cables connecting the top. Hanging from the cable are more cables that connect it to the bridge. As the boat moves on, it passes the other half of the London Bridge. The 2 mirrored sides are connected by 2 bridges in the middle, one at the top and one at the bottom. The bottom bridge is split in 2, each side angled upward. Another building comes onto the screen, the Tower of London, a big, square castle with 2 tall towers on its outer edges. There are many windows in this building, and spires top the 2 towers. The man continues past the tower, and another dock comes onto the screen. He docks his boat. The scene fades. Paper, used as a screen, is lit from behind. The shadows reveal a bird flying in the sky over a tree, tall and covered in leaves. There is a flower on the ground near it. Sitting on a swing, attached to it is a little girl. She swings back and forth. The screen begins to scroll to the right, and the trees, birds, and girl disappear. Another tree comes onto the screen. It looks exactly like the first one, and there is a swing hanging from its branches. Its leaves are falling to the ground. 3 birds fly in the sky, and 3 flowers are on the ground. Standing next to the tree is a girl, taller than the last, with her hair tied into a ponytail. There is a small puppy walking with her. The tree, the girl, and the dog all scroll off the screen as it continues to move. The tree and its swing appear again from the left. All but a few of its leaves have fallen off. The girl and the dog are both standing next to it, but they are bigger now. The dog sits behind her, and there is this boy standing in front of her, holding a flower behind him. The scene moves on. Once more, the tree comes onto the screen from the left, and its leaves are growing back. There is now a whole family standing next to it. The dog is in the middle, with the 2 parents on either side, and 2 children next to them. The family and the tree all move across the screen and disappear. This time, when the tree comes onto the screen, its branches are full of leaves, and there is a bench next to it. Sitting on it are 2 people who look older. They sit close to each other next to the tree, as the dog is lying down nearby. The scene fades. Lying in bed one day, a man was woken by a shimmering light that left his body. It flew off through the window before he could understand what he was looking at. When he finally realized what it was, the man leapt out of bed and chased it. It was his spark, you see, the thing inside us that lets us be happy. He chased the spark out of his house and saw that it had flown through his garden. He ran past the flowers and the bees and the small animals that liked to nibble on his food, and followed his spark out into the forest. It was moving faster than he was, though, and so he doubled his efforts to keep up with it through the trees and over the babbling stream and up the waterfall. Soon he made it through the forest and saw a young family nearby. "Have you seen my spark?" he asked them. They pointed out over the nearby hill, and he heard one of the children shout, "Good luck!" as he tore off again in search of his spark. After running up the hill, the man was exhausted. He looked out over the land and couldn't see his spark anywhere. He had lost it. He would never be happy again. He turned around, hopeless with despair. What would he do now that he could never be happy again? As he trudged back, he saw the young family. "Did you catch it?" they asked him. And he wept. "I could not catch it. It is gone forever," he said through his tears. Seeing the man crying, the family embraced him and invited him to eat supper with them. After being fed, the man felt strong enough to make his way back home, and he walked back through the forest. When he got to the waterfall, he stopped to admire its beauty. He had cursed it when he had been trying to climb up it, but now he could see how spectacular it was. As he walked back, he saw the babbling stream and the trees and marveled at them. Leaving the forest behind, he came to his garden. He had spent so much time nurturing it. All the animals came to him, nuzzling him as he patted them. His garden and his animal friends. He could do without his happiness if he had their love. After a while, he made his way back into the house, exhausted but with a smile on his face. There was a strange light in his room, and he walked over to it, thinking that he had left a candle burning. The light grew brighter as he got closer, and when he opened the door, he was overjoyed to see his spark. It danced in his room, growing brighter and brighter until it flew into him, and he felt its warmth flood his body.